Welcome back to Language Access Academy. We are cruising right along in our AMA medical terminology journey. It's time to explore the letter E. Let's get right into it. First up, we have the eardrum. This is a thin, oval-shaped membrane that separates the inner ear from the outer ear and is responsible for transmitting sound waves. Next, you will often hear the term ECG, sometimes also called an EKG. This stands for an electrocardiogram, which is a record of the electrical impulses that trigger the heartbeat. It is used to diagnose heart disorders. An echocardiogram is an image of the heart that is created by high-frequency sound waves, or ultrasound. Eclampsia is a serious condition that occurs in late pregnancy, characterized by seizures in the woman. When something is described as ectopic, it means it is occurring at an abnormal position or time. Eczema is the inflammation of the skin, usually causing itchiness and sometimes blisters and scaling. It may be caused by allergies, but it often occurs for no apparent reason. Edema is an abnormal buildup of fluid in the body, which may cause visible swelling. You might see the abbreviation EIG, which we will fully define shortly under electroencephalography. When a treatment or procedure is described as elective, it means it is not urgent and can be arranged at the patient's convenience. Electroencephalography, that's the EEG we just mentioned, is a procedure for recording the electrical impulses of brain activity. An embolism is the blockage of a blood vessel by an embolus. An embolus is something that was previously circulating in the blood, such as a blood clot, gas bubble, tissue, bacteria, bone marrow, cholesterol, or fat. An embryo is a term used to describe a child in the womb from fertilization to 8 weeks following fertilization. An emetic is a substance that causes vomiting. It is used to treat some cases of poisoning and drug overdoses. Emphysema is a chronic disease in which the small air sacs in the lungs, the alveoli, become damaged, characterized by difficulty breathing. Encephalitis is inflammation of the brain, usually caused by a virus. It may be very mild and barely noticeable, but it is usually serious and can progress from a headache and fever to hallucinations, paralysis, and sometimes a coma. An endarterectomy is a surgery performed to remove the lining of an artery that has been narrowed by fatty tissue buildup. When a disease is described as endemic, it means it is always present in a certain population of people. Endocarditis is the inflammation of the inner lining of the heart, usually the heart valves. It is typically caused by an infection. The endocardium itself is that inner lining of the heart. An endocrine gland is a gland that secretes hormones into the bloodstream. When something is described as endogenous, it means it is arising from inside of the body. An endometrial polyp is a growth, usually non-cancerous, occurring on the lining of the uterus. Endometriosis is a condition in which fragments of the endometrium are found in other pelvic organs. The endometrium is the membrane that lines the uterus. Endophthalmitis is the inflammation of the inside of the eye. An endorphin is a member of a group of chemicals produced in the brain that reduce pain and positively affect mood. An endoscope is a lighted instrument used to view the inside of a body cavity. The endothelium is the layer of flat cells that lines the blood and lymph vessels, the heart, and other structures in the body. An endotracheal tube is a plastic tube that is fed down into the trachea through the mouth or nose to supply oxygen to a person who is not breathing properly. Enteritis is the inflammation of the small intestine, usually causing diarrhea. Enterobiasis is an infestation by a pinworm. Enuresis is the medical term for wetting the bed. An enzyme is a chemical originating in a cell that regulates reactions in the body. An epidemic is a term used to describe a disease that is rare and then suddenly affects more people than usually expected. The epidermis is the outer layer of the skin. The epididymis is a long, coiled tube exiting from the back of the testicle in which sperm mature. Epidural anesthesia is a method of pain relief in which a pain-killing drug is injected into the space surrounding the spinal cord to block sensations in the abdomen and lower body. Epilepsy is a disorder of the nervous system in which abnormal electrical activity in the brain causes seizures. Epinephrine, also called adrenaline, is a hormone produced by the adrenal glands in response to stress, exercise, or fear. It increases the heart rate and opens airways to improve breathing. Episcleritis is a patch of inflammation on the outer layer of the white of the eye. An episiotomy is a surgical procedure in which an incision is made in the tissue between the vagina and anus to prevent tearing of this tissue during childbirth. The epithelium is the layer of cells that covers the body and lines many organs. The Epstein-Barr virus is a virus that causes mononucleosis and is involved in Burkitt's lymphoma. Erysipelas is an infection caused by streptococci bacteria, characterized by fever and a rash. Erythema simply means redness of the skin. An erythrocyte is a red blood cell. The erythrocyte sedimentation rate is a measure of the time it takes for red blood cells to collect at the bottom of a sample of blood. An elevated rate may mean that there is inflammation somewhere in the body. Erythroplakia refers to red patches in the mucous membranes of the mouth, throat, or voice box, the larynx, that can become cancerous. Risk factors include smoking pipes and chewing tobacco. An esophageal spasm is irregular contractions of the muscles in the esophagus, which lead to difficulty swallowing. Esophageal varices are swollen veins in the lower esophagus and possibly the upper part of the stomach. They can cause vomiting of blood and passing of black stool. The esophagus is a tube-shaped canal in the digestive tract, connecting the throat to the stomach. Estrogen is a group of hormones produced mainly in the ovaries that are necessary for female sexual development and reproductive functioning. Estrogen replacement therapy is treatment with synthetic estrogen drugs to relieve symptoms of menopause and to help protect women against osteoporosis and heart disease. The eustachian tube is the tube that connects the middle ear and the back of the nose, draining the middle ear and regulating air pressure. Euthanasia is painlessly ending the life of a patient with an incurable disease who requests to die. An excision is the surgical removal of diseased tissue. Excretion is the process by which the body rids itself of waste. An exercise stress test is the monitoring of the heart during strenuous exercise, usually on a treadmill or exercise bicycle, to evaluate how the heart responds to stress. An exercise thallium test is an imaging test performed during and after an exercise stress test to evaluate the functioning of the heart muscles. When something is described as exogenous, it means it is arising from outside of the body. An expectorant is a medication used to promote the coughing up of phlegm from the respiratory tract. An extensor muscle is a muscle that causes a joint or limb to straighten. An external version is the external repositioning of the fetus in the womb to the correct birth position. Extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy is a procedure performed to destroy kidney stones using external shock waves. And finally, for the letter E, extradural anesthesia is the injection of an anesthetic into the space outside the dura mater, which is the fibrous membrane that envelops the spinal cord.